Now, the effort to bring about a ceasefire between Israel and the Iran-backed Hezbollah group may be making progress. That's according to the Israeli government. Hostilities continue. The Israeli ambassador to the USA, though, said a deal could take shape within days. So let us welcome the Israeli government spokesperson, David Mencer. Hello to you, David.
Good to be with you, John. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Can anyone be confident, do you think, of a ceasefire in Lebanon?
Well, look, John, we are moving in the direction towards a deal, but there are still some issues to address. The US and other countries are leading these negotiations to return to quiet to our north. But I must tell you that we hope a deal does happen, but the military campaign will continue until the immediate threat from Lebanon and from Hezbollah, this terrorist organization, called a terrorist organization in your country, John, not just here, until we can get our residents back home to the north safely to their homes. That's our objective. It's always been our objective to get our people safely back into their homes free of rockets. We've had 17,000 of these rockets falling on our heads. My own daughter had a minute and a half after an air raid siren during her maths lessons yesterday to get into her shelter. And these Hezbollah rockets was actually made contact. They landed inside our cities. Our defense is not hermetic. But we want this deal to succeed if it means our people can go back home and we can restore peace to our northern border.
Well, you want to get Israelis back to their northern, the areas in that northern area, free of the fear of attacks from Hezbollah. What is standing in the way of that? What are the outstanding issues in this deal?
Well, look, we had this resolution on the books for a long time. It's called 1701. It was agreed in 2006 in the United Nations. And it said two things very, very clearly. The first thing it said was that there should be no Hezbollah between our northern border and the Litani River. So it's the river just a few kilometers north of our northern border. And the second thing it said is that area immediately facing us here in Israel, that area between the Litani River and our northern border should be policed by no one else than the Lebanese army, not the terrorist organization and not a Lebanese army which is infiltrated by a terrorist organization, but the Lebanese army, the sovereign army of the government of Lebanon. That's what it said, and that's what we're asking for. And the final point, of course, is that Israel reserves the right to defend itself. That's the right that Britain has to defend its sovereign territory. That's the right that every decent government has to defend itself. We reserve that right. That's an important right to us because you're right. We have been here before with Hezbollah. We want to end their aggression on our northern border.
So there's some bridges still to be crossed. You want to see an agreement with Hezbollah. You want to see Israelis back in their homes in the north of Israel, and you want to know that they're safe in those homes before a ceasefire can take effect. And if there's any kind of breach in a ceasefire deal, it also means that Israel would just simply resume hostilities in full. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would simply reply to your question with a question. What would Britain do if it had missiles raining on their capital city? Yesterday, we had 250 of them. Imagine just one missile landing in London. What would the government of Britain do? Look, this isn't disputed territory. Our border with Lebanon is precisely where the UN asked us to put it. It's called the Blue Line. We are exactly there before this war. Hezbollah, whose stated aim is to destroy this country, we need to push them back. We have taken out much of their leadership, much of the organization. They still do exist. They're the most well-funded, the most well-organized terrorist organization in the entire globe. But if this agreement is successful, it will mean that they are pushed behind the Litani River. The Lebanese army is in control in sovereign Lebanese territory, and our people can go home safely.
Okay, let me just get a question to you on these International Criminal Court warrants that were issued last week, and the government of Israel just dismissed them and rejected them out of hand. Will Israel be willing to investigate the crimes that are alleged by the ICC?
John, we've got an independent judiciary here, and that's been the case since our country was established. It's a proud facet of this country. But we believe if there is any investigating to do, then it's the job of our own judicial system to do that investigating. If there are indeed any credence to these allegations. But we believe that this is an illegal arrest warrant against our Prime Minister and our former Defence Minister since the beginning of this war, which of course began with the murderous attacks on October the 7th. Israel has acted, and we will continue to act in accordance with international law for the sole purpose of protecting our own citizens. So this court's decision, unfortunately, it's the epitome of absurdity because it places the attackers, Hamas, Iranian-backed Hamas, with the attacked, that's us, alongside each other. So it's an unparalleled moral folly, and we're simply not going to accept this jurisdiction.
Okay, one more briefly. On the specifics of the ICC accusations, they say one of the alleged crimes was deliberately depriving starving people of food. Now, that's not simply an allegation, David, from the ICC or its prosecutor. The United States were suggesting that was the case, weren't they? They were holding over you the threat of stopping arms. Now, that didn't take place, but the accusation was there from America as well as others.
So let me share with you the facts on this issue because it's an important thing that you say. Since the beginning of this war, we have pushed more than 1 million tons of aid directly into Gaza. Now, these are the facts. These aren't opinions. These are facts. You know, of that aid, 872,000 tons of food have gone in. They've gone on 40,000 trucks. There's been 51,000 tons of water. Together with the pipelines we reestablished, Hamas destroyed the pipelines for their own people. We rebuilt them. There's been 86 tons of shelter. We've had 27,000 tons of medical supplies, which have gone in, 27.5 million liters of fuel. Aid has gone in. We've always said that after a security check, the aid goes in. These are the facts, John. Never mind about Karim Khan. He's got a problem with the facts, unfortunately.
Okay.
These are the facts. We have pushed aid into Gaza.
All right, David Mencer of the Israeli government. Hopefully we can carry on this conversation next time we speak.